So I've been collecting comic books a long time, and I've been collecting omnibus editions on and off. But why does it feel like in October 2024, comic publishers punched me straight in the wallet?
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to my Omnibus October haul. Yes, I have been collecting omnibus editions for a little while now. I usually pick up a couple a year. As you notice, there's 5 in front of you. This was the most intense month as a collector because for some reason, my sort of niche tastes into what I want to buy in an omnibus format all hit me in a single month. All 5 of these were throughout the month of October. Now, the fun part is this isn't everything I bought in October that counts as an omnibus edition. There are 5 more books we're also going to talk about. I just couldn't stack them all here. That would be a little nutty. I do love comics, as you may know from watching my channel. I do a lot of videos on comics very frequently nowadays. And this is absolutely awesome to get this many editions in one month, but a little painful in the budget department. But we're going to go through each of these. We're going to take a look at them, talk about why I wanted them specifically. And we'll start with these 5 because they came out in October, and then we'll talk about the ones that didn't come out in October that I also picked up in October. It was really Omnibus October. So we're going to go through it. If you enjoy a comic book haul type video, please hit the like button and subscribe and notification bell if you aren't subscribed already. And please leave me a comment because I'm considering doing quarterly like omnibus hardcover trade paperback hauls the way I do Blu-ray hauls on the channel, where it's like every quarter I'm just like, let me show you what I picked up and talk about it. I might do that. This is kind of a test bed for that idea. So if you like it, hit the like button and leave a comment down below and tell me you want to see more like this. But let's break into these books, let's take a look at them, and talk about what is contained in all these omnibus editions and why I had to get them day one. All right, let's start with what came out first, the Godzilla Original Marvel Years Omnibus. So they've been doing a lot more of these licensed Marvel omnibuses lately. We got ROM this year, ROM Space Knight, as well as Micronauts, and Godzilla's the next one in that. And I'd never read this Godzilla series prior to picking up this omnibus, and I ended up reading this entire thing in like 2 days. I absolutely loved this Godzilla book. So this is all 24 issues of Godzilla. It ran from 77 to 79. It is a Godzilla comic, but it does take place in the Marvel Universe. So his main adversary is S.H.I.E.L.D., and Dum Dum Dugan is like in charge of that. And so it's a really great series. Not only is it really cool because it integrates Godzilla into the Marvel Universe, like here he is fighting Black Widow and Hercules and Angel and Iceman, or the champions, I should say. It's such a cool like snapshot in time for Marvel, but also it's just really cool to see just the Marvel style implanted on Godzilla. But the thing I really appreciated about this, and this will go into like minor spoiler territory, instead of most Godzilla stories which keep him very large, very powerful, this series does dare to take Godzilla into what is kind of a different field. Where they actually shrink Godzilla at one point to try to contain him, but that actually makes Godzilla a bit of an underdog, and I really, really liked where this series ended up. There is so much cool stuff, like all these cowboys trying to fight Godzilla. It's fantastic. I absolutely love this. This went from a book I picked up because several people I know and trust recommended it to being one that I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite Marvel comics ever. What's cool in the back, you do have some of the covers of some of the other reprints and stuff that has existed before, and this is the main cover. So I'll talk about this. This is the main cover for the omnibus. If you're buying it from like any bookstore or Amazon or something, this is the cover you'll get. This is by Jungin Yoon, which is pretty cool. It's him destroying the Golden Gate Bridge, iconic moment of the series. But there was a couple variant covers through direct market, so comic sellers. This is the one I wanted, which is from issue 4, and it's Godzilla fighting Batragon. So it's the one I want. I found this one to be super engaging. I love the spine work too. Big old Godzilla logo, and then Godzilla at the bottom. And then on the back, it does show all of the issues. What's also cool is that under the slipcase here, or under the dust jacket, I should say, you do get a really nice like spread of Godzilla across the board there. And that looks super awesome. So I highly recommend picking this up if you're a Godzilla fan, if you're a Marvel fan, if you're both, it's perfect. because it's just a blast. I really did enjoy reading this, and I'm kind of sad it didn't last a little bit longer, but it's in one nice omnibus. It's also the thinnest omnibus I own. This one's kind of thin. We'll look at another book in this haul that I kind of classify as an omnibus, because if this classifies, then anything that size does. But that was the first one I picked up this month. All right, second up, we have Moonlight by Jed MacKay. This was a series that I didn't pick up in single issues. I was reading it on Marvel Unlimited. It's kind of how I read some books that I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'll like that one, but, you know, I'm not sure, and I'll go into it. And I absolutely love this series, 100%. I have never read a Moon Knight run in full before, so I don't know if I'm like the mark for what makes a good Moon Knight. But for me, the thing that captured my attention was the early issues, especially the artwork in here by Alessandro Cappuccio. Absolutely great stuff. And by the way, I may be mispronouncing their name, so I apologize if that's the case. But just really engaging stuff where you have like the Moon Knight cape cutting through the sky. The way that like Moon Knight has like a partial glow, which I also would attribute to the color artist on this book. But there is just so much like beautiful artwork in this series, regardless of, you know, the story itself. And then the story itself is really engaging and really good. This is the page right here where I said, if I'm going to own this, I need to buy the Omnibus edition, because that is gorgeous with the way the moonlight is streaking through him. Absolutely love it. As an omnibus, this does contain the original Jed MacKay Moon Knight series. It doesn't contain any of his follow-ups that are still ongoing. I imagine those will be, you know, contained in a second Jed MacKay Moon Knight omnibus. But just, this book is gorgeous from top to bottom. Absolutely amazing. The story itself sees, Moon Knight, whether which personality is dominant, setting up the Midnight Mission to help people along the way. One of his associates, she's a vampire, which is kind of a fun thing to kind of get a glimpse into the vampires. Sort of started to set up some of the stuff we would see in the Blood Hunt event. But this book was just so much fun, and the relationships and the way that things developed and moved along. I also liked that Tigra was a supporting character, because her and Moon Knight have history in the West Coast Avengers. Just look at these. Look at the artwork in this book. So even, that is just amazing. There's also, in the back, there's all these variant covers for the books, which is pretty nice. I think let's see, where was it? It was just here. This cover right here was the direct market cover for the book. I went with the Greg Capullo cover, which was also a variant cover. I do wish there was a Cappuccio cover, because that's, kind of the reason I bought it in omnibus format. But this is pretty nice. And then under the dust jacket, you do get the Cappuccio art, which looks incredible. But absolutely great. I hope that we get like a, second Jed MacKay Moon Knight omnibus in the future when he wraps up his run, or third if he keeps going that long. I have been enjoying this series quite a bit and absolutely love getting it in this format. Ghost Rider 2099 is a series that sounds right up my alley. I'm somebody that loves the 2099 universe because of Spider-Man 2099, and I absolutely love Ghost Rider. Before I was reading Marvel hardcore, I was reading Ghost Rider. I absolutely love Ghost Rider. And so this book is 100% in my wheelhouse, and I haven't quite finished reading it yet because I've been trying to keep up with these books as they come in. But this is a 25-issue series. It's the shortest of the 2099 ongoings from the main era. And this is so much up my alley specifically. This is the variant cover for the direct market, which I liked it because it has Bike. I almost didn't buy this one because I didn't know it would have the gold border. The 2099 border is iconic to me. The main cover at normal retailers is this, but with a gold border around it. It's cool. I like Chris Bachalo, but I did like having the Bike. It kind of like the full body look of the character. So what is Ghost Rider 2099 about? Well, Ghost Rider, normally Ghost Rider is like Spirit of Vengeance. A person makes a deal, they get possessed by a spirit. In this case, because it is 2099 and you're in a dystopian, cyberpunky future, the person who becomes Ghost Rider, Zero Cochran, is a net runner. And his consciousness gets transferred digitally as his human body is dying, and it gets put into this new synthetic body, which allows him to become Ghost Rider. So he literally is a ghost writing. It's kind of like a very Ghost in the Shell kind of thing going on. There's a lot of stuff. If you follow the cyberpunk subgenre, if you know your your old tech terms, 80s and 90s cyberpunk, especially if you like kind of grungier artwork, this is going to be up your alley. It does not play like a normal superhero comic. It's definitely more of that heavy sci-fi cyberpunk stuff. Absolutely amazing covers. And they do go through some artists. They start with Chris Bachalo, which most people I think know from Generation X, same as me. There's a lot of other different artists here. Ashley Wood does a bunch of the issues. It ties into some of the 2099 universe, but not super heavy. So if you haven't read it, you can read this standalone. I haven't quite finished it yet. I have 2 more issues left on issue 24. The back of it does have some nice backup material, some interviews from back when it came out, and some variant covers and some sketches of the original artwork, plus a shot of a connecting cover here, which had, it was Spider-Man 2099-39, Doom 2099-37, Ghost Rider 21, and X-Men 28. What's kind of fun is that we have all these in omnibus format confirmed, because we have the Spider-Man, we have the X-Men already, we now have Ghost Rider, and Doom is coming out next May. So pretty cool. I love this stuff. I love this universe. And so if you're into super heavy cyberpunk stuff, this might be up your alley. If you're not, it may not. I do love the inner cover as well. This is from issue 1. You can kind of see like Ghost Rider's bike, but I love this look of him. It's definitely different than normal Ghost Rider stuff, but it's something that I appreciate because I love that very speculative, cyberpunky science fiction from that era. All right, let's take a break from Marvel and take a break from the term omnibus. This is the Radiant Black Massive Edition Book 1. This is the first hardcover for the Massiveverse. If you've been following my channel, you've heard me talk about Radiant Black, and I've also gotten the privilege to review a lot of the issues early, which has been fantastic. I absolutely love this series. This was not sent to me by Black Market Narrative. I did purchase this. I want to make that clear, because in a lot of my other videos, like I just did a YouTube short talking about the No One trade, they sent this to me. They did not send this to me. This I just purchased because I love the series. So this, I put it in the omnibus camp because look how thick it is. And if you compared to how thick Godzilla was, this is actually more pages. And it is kind of the omnibus edition for Radiant Black. They haven't confirmed that they're going to continue doing these for all the books in the Massiveverse or even for Radiant Black. This contains issues 1 through 12, so it's like the first year. And I hope it does well, because they said if it sells well enough, we will get more hardcovers, because I would love to have all the Massiveverse books in this format. So let's take a look at it, because I think some people were curious what I thought. So the new cover here, which looks amazing at Radiant Black, you got Existence. The logo, the fonts, all this matches the way that the trade paperbacks were done, because it's the same editor and designer, which I think is awesome. Here's a look at the spine. We got Radiant Black. We got the Radiant Black logo. Higgins, Costa, and Carey, book 1. So, it does say Radiant Black 1 through 12. This does have a cover price of $45, which is super nice because it is a creator-owned book. Kyle Higgins, Marcelo Costa, and Becca Carey are all worked on this book, but Kyle Higgins does own the character. So it is printed by Image Comics, of course, because that's like your premier creator-owned company. But it is not, it's not licensed. So I think that helps with the price. But $45 for this is pretty good, especially because a lot of online retailers will drop that price down further. Here we got the shot from the trailer. That's also the first cover of the trade paperback. Here's all our creator credits. It mentions all the co-writers and the guest artists for those issues, because issue 6 is about Radiant Red. Issue 12 is about Radiant Pink. And it's just really cool. So each issue is broken up with a chapter, which reminds me of another format we'll compare in a moment. But basically, the story of Radiant Black is you have a guy who's down on his luck. Here's his bank account. And that's Nathan. And Nathan goes back home and he reunites with his best friend Marshall. And he ends up finding this glowing black hole-looking device that allows him to become Radiant Black. And then things transition from there. There's a discovery of there are multiple Radiants. From the first issue even, we find out there's a Radiant Red. And the series continues onward and goes through some amazing stuff. And I really don't want to spoil it if you've never read it. If you're somebody that likes superheroes, if you like transformation heroes, if you like, your Henshin hero types, this is going to be a series that's going to be right up your alley. And I do recommend it quite a bit. And especially if you're somebody that's a little bit tired of the Marvel DC formula this is a great place to go look at some creator-owned works. So here's some other variant cover galleries. It is extensive. Let me see if I can find the end of the variant cover gallery. It reminds me, there's another book I'll compare to in a moment for good reason, but if you want to look at, if you're looking at your page count, you're like, wow, that's a thick book for 12 issues. Yeah, you have your 12 issues, and then this much of it is variant covers, and then this much of it is behind the scenes stuff. So you've got interviews, you've got information about designing the character, talking about creation, sketches, design sketches, comparisons, talking about like when they made the animated trailer or when they were doing some of the other stuff like the blacklight issue or some of the interactive materials, plus like the language translator for the Radiant language. And then on top of that, this does contain a revised issue 11. The colors in issue, that's issue 10. The colors in issue 11, the original color artist, I don't believe, was happy with how they turned out, and so they are redone and updated. So if you've been picking up the series in singles, this is, I think, the time to double dip if you haven't bought the trade paperbacks. And even if you had, like I said, that issue 11 is updated. But I absolutely love this series. I remember the first time I read it, I picked up the first trade paperback, and then I was like, oh, I'll just read it in trade. And then I couldn't. I went and picked up all the other issues at the comic shop, and I've been reading it since. Absolutely great series. Now, there was another series that Kyle Higgins wrote for another publisher, Boom Studios, and that was Power Rangers. And something I noticed was the way that the Radiant Black hardcover, it looks like the Power Ranger hardcovers. But with the Radiant Black hardcover, it is a little bit shorter. And this is great because I've noticed that the Boom Power Rangers hardcovers are a little bit taller than normal Omnibus trim size, and so I've had trouble fitting these in certain shelves. So I'm glad to see that these are, the image publishing size for the hardcover has allowed it to be more accessible for the books. You also notice that, like I mentioned, there's a ton of variant covers. Same with the Power Rangers ones. It almost feels a little bit like the Power Rangers Deluxe hardcovers, which I feel like isn't a spiritual successor. Same writer, same type of iconography in a lot of ways, but I do appreciate the size being more normal on Radiant Black than they are on Power Rangers. Power Rangers are a bit abnormally sized, but anyways, absolutely love Radiant Black, and I hope we get to see more hardcovers. I'll absolutely buy the whole series again in a deluxe format like this. And then the last new release of October, not the last of this video, is The Miracle, the DC versus Marvel Omnibus. So throughout the 80s, the 90s, there was all these crossovers with DC and Marvel characters, and they have had trouble getting reprinted because, of course, DC and Marvel have to agree on things, but we have a DC versus Marvel Omnibus, and I am so excited. This is absolutely fantastic. I have not read through the entirety of this. A bunch of these stories I have read over the years. I know I own an original printing of Batman and Captain America, so I'm excited to read through this. I haven't had a chance to yet. I was reading Ghost Rider first. I reread Radiant Black. I read Godzilla. I was doing a lot of reading this month. The cool part of the spine is you do have several of the characters like Incredible Hulk, Silver Surfer, New Teen Titans, Uncanny X-Men. I like how they put Starfire and Phoenix together, for example. So it just kind of has like a collage of the different characters and, some of the pairings from it. DC vs. Marvel Omnibus does credit DC and Marvel, though I do believe it is published by DC because DC is the ones that put the credit down here saying it's published in Bound in Canada. I'm just going to zoom in on the contents because I do not want to read all of these names. That'll take way too much time, but there is everything included. It does not contain JLA Avengers, the George Perez, Kurt Busiek series. That is a bummer. I don't know why it's not included, but when it comes to this stuff, I don't want to say beggars can't be choosers, but I will say if not having JLA Avengers is a deal breaker for you, I understand, but I would also say that I don't think this omnibus is ever going to come out again. That's also another reason why I picked it up right away. This is the regular cover, which is a George Perez cover, and I absolutely love George Perez's art. I'm sad that he's passed away, and we won't get any more of his art. I met him in person; it was absolutely lovely person. And this is the interior cover, which shows like all the characters battling it out. This is like a promotional poster that was for these books. But yeah, I had to go for the George Perez cover. The variant cover was a Jim Lee cover he drew specifically for this omnibus, and it is included back here in all copies. in a nice fold-out. So if you wanted to have both covers, you totally can. They include both pieces of artwork in the back of the book. And I love that they have these fold-outs for some of these bigger things. But the cool part, too, is you get like a bunch of house ads and magazine stuff and extra promotional artwork. And I'm trying to make sure I don't screw this all up on camera. And there's like a bunch of behind-the-scenes material back here. It's really nicely bound. This is the Silver Surfer Green Lantern crossover, which is fun because Ron Mars was doing stuff for both companies at the time. And so there's a lot of cool stuff. The interesting part is the Silver Surfer Green Lantern does say it is continued, the action continues in DC versus Marvel 1-4, which is in the Amalgam Age Omnibus. This has gotten delayed. It's still on the calendar for December 31st, but this is the second DC versus Marvel. So while this book is all of the crossovers, where you have like Punisher Batman or Silver Surfer Superman, and like there's the Punisher going after Joker, which is exciting, and you got Galactus and stuff. There's, these are the crossovers between these characters. The Amalgam Age was that time where both publishers were hurting after the speculator boom crash. And for I think it was like 1 month or something, they merged the DC and Marvel universe into the Amalgam universe. And that omnibus is going to be coming out later this year. Hopefully it will be coming out because there's been some rumors that there was an issue in printing. But these are absolutely classic stories. From a lot of people I know that have read the contents of both, they've said that this is the better volume out of the two. I'm still going to be picking up the Amalgam Age one because I get tickled by the fact that these two universes I really love are merged together into one book like this. And it's super fun. So I'm absolutely looking forward to reading this. Part of me is tempted to wait until I get the Amalgam Age and then just read them back to back. But these are fantastic stories, and I'm so glad that they're out once again for people to read. All right, so now for some stuff that came out not in October, but I still picked up in October. So we got Avengers by Jason Aaron, Volume 5. This is officially an oversized hardcover, but the page count's longer than Godzilla, so I'm just tossing it in here. This is the last of the oversized hardcovers for Avengers. There's been a lot of talk, and Marvel has discontinued oversized hardcovers where it's just, like 12 issues as opposed to a full omnibus because of printing costs. It seems like they'd rather just do omnibuses. This isn't anybody's favorite favorite Avengers run. I'm owning it because it has Robbie Ray as Ghost Rider in it and She-Hulk, two of my favorite characters, two of the characters I collect. There is very important stuff that happens to both characters in these stories, and so because of that, even though overall I'd say I don't really like Jason Aaron's Avengers comic, I do want to own it all because it is an important milestone for several characters I collect for, especially Robbie Ray as Ghost Rider. Even if I don't like what happened to him at the end of this series, I still want to own it. But what I've been doing is I've been getting these volumes on super sales. So I got this one half off because the cover price on this was $60, and this contains Avengers 46 to 62, Avengers 1 million BC, and material from a free Comic Book Day issue. So it's a pretty thick book. But I paid $30. I waited till it dropped to half, and I picked it up. That's how I did it with all the others. Also, weird side note, this cover on the back is not in this volume. It's from the previous volume. I don't know why they couldn't pick a different cover to put on the back of this one. That's actually from it. But yeah, Volume 5 is absolutely you can tell that they were just breaking format to get the rest of it out. It's not 100% the rest of it. I'll talk about that in a moment, but the page count spacing on this series has been weird for these hardcovers because they seem to be going for about 12 issues. Volume 3 is a little shorter, and then Volume 4 was beefed up a little bit, but then Volume 5 was mega beefed. And the last couple issues of this were part of the Avengers Forever crossover, or the Avengers Assemble crossover, or something like that. And that's coming out in an omnibus with the spin-off Avengers Forever series. So I'm going to have all this in oversized hardcover soon. And that's mostly because this was cheaper than owning the trades. It's more concise, but it gets me all the stuff I needed character-wise for important character history things. But that's, at least these are done, and it's just going to be picking up that omnibus on a sale and being done with that. All right, Wonder Woman by Gail Simone Omnibus, I actually bought in September. I bought it from Amazon, and it showed up, and the spine was damaged, and their corners were dinged. So I went and sent it back, got a replacement, and that showed up with a massive ding on the back cover that was creasing into here. And I was like, nope, that's no good. So I got the refund from Amazon, and then a retailer I like going to had a bit of a discount, so I was able to pay basically the same price, but I got an actual good copy. This is probably one of my favorite Wonder Woman runs. I absolutely love the George Perez run. I absolutely love Gail Simone's run. She also had a lot of great artists on the book. This is from the late 2000s, 2007, 2008-ish. I do recommend this if you haven't read Wonder Woman before. It's going to be, it's tricky to find Wonder Woman runs. A lot of writers struggle with Wonder Woman, but I think that Gail really did a great job here. I always loved Gail Simone's work. Great series. And if you're trying to get this and you don't want to buy like an omnibus like this, which contains everything she wrote, if you don't want the omnibus, there is a DC Finest coming out, Origins and Omens, that does contain part of this run, which is pretty nice. This omnibus, for context, has Wonder Woman 14 to 44 and 600, as well as Sensation Comics featuring Wonder Woman #1 and the Wonder Woman 75th Anniversary Special, which I think is a partial inclusion. I don't think it's the full thing, but this is a fantastic run. So if you wanted an omnibus, there's an omnibus. If you want to get a paperback edition, there'll be, that DC Finest, which I think is great. But it's one of the runs I'd recommend, especially for modern Wonder Woman. The phenomenon known as FOMO, fear of missing out, doing something because you feel like you're going to miss it if you don't. Why am I mentioning that? Well, that's what I did with the Batman Rise and Fall of the Batman Omnibus. Okay, so context-wise, this is a collection of James Tynion IV's Detective Comics run during Rebirth. It was about a team. They were, I think, officially known as the Gotham Knights, but the Rise of the Batman and Fall of the Batman are two storylines in this. Batwoman, Tim Drake, Robin, Cassandra Cain, and Azrael, Luke Fox, Batwing, plus Clayface. This was such a cool idea. Oh yeah, also Bruce Wayne is there, and you have Stephanie Brown as spoiler. This was such a cool idea because Batman at the time was all about Batman and sometimes Catwoman. And then Detective Comics was about a team of the Bat family. And that's the kind of stuff I like when it comes to my Batman comics. I love the Bat family. So I really love this run. I was reading it in singles back in the day. I thought about picking up the deluxe hardcovers, but kind of got stopped because they didn't include the crossover issues from Batman and Nightwing. And then when they announced this omnibus, I was like, I should get that omnibus because I really love this run. And that came out in 2020, and I was like, okay, I can get it later. It's a Batman omnibus. They'll stay in print. Then it kind of sold out, but then it came back in 2022, and I was like, okay, I need to get it. And then I noticed that all my favorite stores I like to buy from started selling out of this, and I was like, I think I just need to buy it on Amazon. And because Amazon was down to stock, and they didn't say more on the way, so I was like, I just need to buy it. Not intended to buy it this month, but I just really wanted this run. It's one of my favorites. I'm sure I'll get a reprint again because it is a Batman omnibus, but I wonder if it's farther down the queue because DC's doing so many omnibus reprints in 2025, and also because it's not like a Bruce Batman storyline. But this is an absolutely massive book as well. This is like, I would call one thick boy. This is one of the thickest omnibuses I own. I know a lot of Batman omnibuses are like this. It's why I don't completionists collect certain characters like Batman. So this has all of the issues for this run, which is Detective Comics 934 to 981, Detective Comics Annual, Batman 7 to 8, Nightwing to 7 to 8. Those are part of the crossover. And then stories from the Robin 80th Anniversary 100-page Spectacular and Detective Comics 1000. So it's like relevant stuff. Big old $150 cover price on this. I didn't pay cover. I also didn't get it cheap. But I only own 3 other Batman Omnis, which is the 3 Grant Morrison volumes, which I also picked up on a good sale. I'm starting to decide that if I'm going to own Batman in a collected edition, at this point, I'm probably just going to buy omnibuses. And so this is just part of it, but I'm glad to have it. It's one of my favorite eras, and I think I'm pretty covered with Rebirth for the most part. I think I got everything from Rebirth I wanted in a trade paperback format. Rebirth, for those that don't know, is one of my favorite eras of DC. I absolutely loved, especially at the beginning, a lot that Rebirth had to offer. But this is a great series, great run, absolutely great omnibus. It feels sturdy, but I haven't read it yet, so I don't know how well it'll hold up. So while previous books I just looked at were unexpected purchases in October, this was 100% unexpected. The Muppets Omnibus came out, God, when did this come out? I've forgotten already. It's been like 10 years. I think this came out in like 2014. This was a collection of the 2009 Muppet Show comic, 1 to 4, Muppet Show comic Treasure of Peg Led Wilson, 1 to 4, Muppet Show comic book 0 to 11, and Muppets 2012, 1 to 4. This is all the Muppet comics that Marvel published in the modern era. and I really wanted this omnibus, but it's been out of print for a long time, and I wasn't collecting omnibuses at the time. It's not a super thick omnibus. It's also the only one branded Disney Comics. But this is a Muppet series. It's great. It's funny. It follows the Muppet Show format, so you get like the behind the scenes, and then they do like a crazy sketch, and then you see the behind the scenes. It's very Muppets. It's very classic Muppets inspired. It's, you know, here's pigs in space. I really love the Muppets. Now, the thing is, this book is not one they've ever reprinted, because I don't think it sold that well back when it came out. It's just not really, I think also because omnibuses were sort of in their infancy back then. There's, you know, a fan community poll to get omnibuses reprinted. I believe I was the only one that voted for this to get reprinted, or at least the only one that wanted it in their top 10. So my comic shop got a bunch of trade-ins of omnibuses, and I was scanning the shelf, and I saw that bright green spine, and I said, that's coming home with me. And it was marked down because it is pre-owned. You know, it's not like in perfect condition. It's not super dinged. It's not super beat up. The dust jacket's got a little couple crinkles here and there. But for how old this omnibus is and for how out of print it is, absolutely picked it up. No hesitation. And then the last book was Muppet Babies, which is Disney Comics branded here, but it still says Marvel Omnibus here, which is a little bit nicer for the shelf. Okay, so I'm not a big Muppet Babies guy. I'm going to be totally honest. I didn't watch the original cartoon when it came out because I was not born. But the Muppet Babies show's been hard to watch because of all the licensing of the movie clips and stuff they used. So I haven't really watched Muppet Babies. I'm not a super big Muppet Babies fan. However, I'm a big Muppets fan. And when it came down to it, I saw this at the comic shop right next to the Muppets Omnibus, and I hemmed and hawed on it a bit, but ultimately decided I might regret not picking this up, because this came out in 2017. It's an old omnibus. I doubt they'll ever reprint it. But this is the entirety of the Star Comics Muppets Babies tie-in comic for the series. I thought it looked fun. It goes with my Muppets collection. And then the thing that did sell me, though, in the back here, this was what did sell me. It does have the comic book adaptation of Muppets Take Manhattan, which means it kind of completes the Muppet comics. I'm sure there's some others that aren't in these two omnis, but for the most part, this covers it. And the reason why this was included in the Muppet Babies Omnibus was not just because it was a Marvel comic, you know, back in the 80s, but this was because there was the dream sequence in Muppets Take Manhattan that had like Kermit and Miss Piggy and everybody as babies that did inspire the Muppet Babies cartoon. So that is included here. There's also some really cool bonuses and some artwork and some extra stuff in the back. You know, like here's the Marvel Age issue and the reprints when they reprinted the special for Muppets Take Manhattan into 3 issues. That's what kind of sold me on it, was the Muppets Take Manhattan, because that's one of my favorite Muppet movies of all time. But yeah, getting these 2 Muppet omnibuses at the comic shop was not a planned experience, but I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad they had them, because I feel like I may never have another shot at these, especially for the prices I paid. It was just super fair. So unexpected, but very, very glad to have. I feel like I got all the Muppets in comic form that I could need at this point, and you know, that's pretty great. Hopefully, maybe someday they'll get reprinted for those that don't have them, but you know, these are low demand, and I'm glad I found copies, because who knows when I ever may see them again. So I hope you enjoyed this Omnibus October haul. I know that these 2 don't technically count as omnibuses, but my goodness, the Muppets and the Godzilla are shorter than this. I think it just counts. This was kind of fun to do. I've not done a comic haul video like this before. If you did enjoy it, please let me know in the comments, and like and subscribe if you haven't already. Really do appreciate that, because I'd like to do maybe more comic book haul videos, because I do like doing those for Blu-rays. Why not do it for comics as well? If the audience is there for it, I'll be glad to do it. On that note, though, stay tuned for future videos. If you want to keep up with videos on this channel and the YouTube notification system isn't working for you, check our Discord server in the link below. We always shout out every time I post a new video. So if you want to see when the new videos pop up, probably best to go join the Discord server down below. Also, we do live streams on this channel every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you want to help support this channel and help support future videos, consider joining as a channel member. There's perks like early access to videos, member-exclusive live streams, special shout-outs. Check out the details down there while we give a special shout-out to our channel members. Special shout-out to our channel members including Captain Tears, Spin-54, Toma K, MasterBen95, Jamie's World, Forever1000, Clint Jorgensen, Common Jojo, Stephen Hinojosa, Muhammad Faiz Daniel, Dominator, Yash Gangater, RJ Wingo, Doge9789, Alex Alexis, Brendan Donnellan, Toast Rave, Brenton Yadden, Mr. Smelly Potato, GV2186, Silverbricks, Richard, K Breezy, Tranzilla Jack, Super Robozilla Go, Gil Roland's Kingdom, Nomo Toka, Oni Onichan, David Johnson, Sketch Res, and Ruben Abrego. Plus special shout out to our new commander tier, Muteki T. Thank you all for your support. You can find me across social media if you wish, including Blue Sky, but I am more active on Discord at Soundout12. You can also find my awesome graphic designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for geek news, entertainment, news, and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.